Welcome to our lesson on communities. Now, communities are an ever-expanding feature in Thinkific. So if you have been with Thinkific for a while and you haven't seen the changes to communities, I encourage you to jump in the system and get familiar with their recent updates because they're fairly expansive. And Thinkific is focusing heavily on expanding their communities and their offer for communities in the next year. So at the time of this recording in early October 2022, the communities are still a very high priority for Thinkific. And just recently, they've made it so that you can price communities individually as you could traditionally do with a course. So you no longer have to stand up a shell course and charge for your community. You can actually assign a price to a community now, which is pretty phenomenal. And they've also expanded a lot of the features within communities. So let's go ahead and kind of cover why you would want a community beforehand. So if you've ever been a part of a Facebook group or a Slack page, or maybe a private group on LinkedIn, any type of social media platform, then you know that these are fairly exclusive or at least regulated groups of people, and it's supposed to provide a sense of community and comfort for your learners. It's a place for everyone to meet and discuss common topics, themes, different things happening within certain disciplines or professions. So it's really nice to be able to offer this in Thinkific because it helps eliminate some of the distractions that you may encounter if, let's say, you managed your group on a traditional platform like Facebook, where you're competing for their interests while they're in your group. So if you log into a Facebook group, you might find that people are distracted by, friends' posts coming up on their feed, notifications, things like that, that are pulling them away from your community into other areas of Facebook, other groups that they're a part of. There's just this constant barrage of distraction in a place like Facebook or a traditional social media platform. So if you stand up a community in a platform like Thinkific, then it draws the student into the sign-on to Thinkific, right? Which brings them back to your products, back to your courses. And they're doing that to both attend your course or participate in your community. So how do you add a community? It sounds like a pretty sweet deal. Let's see what we can do here. So we would want to open up Manage Learning Products on the left, select communities. And then if you have a community, it'll load here. You can see I've got a test community populated specifically for this reason, right? So we can demo here. If you didn't have a test community, you would come up here and you would push this plus, and you would be able to assign a name to your community. So let's just call it the Daily Thinkers, right? Because you're all a bunch of Daily Thinkific users. So let's do that. We would create the community. Now, when you create a community, it's going to automatically populate certain features. You're going to have a home. That's what this page you see here is. This is kind of like the home for the community. You're going to have a star for different spaces that you're following. You have the ability to launch live events. So they've got them populated here, but they also have the preloaded event creation block here in the middle of the screen for you. And it tells you that you can host live events. You can schedule events out. You can do all kinds of great stuff. So you also have the ability to create your first post to welcome your community. So they kind of preload all this for you. And then they've got this brand new look for spaces. And they're giving you some recommendations here, right, that are automatically preloaded. So this is your general space, a space for announcements, one for introductions, which is what you would use to have people introduce themselves to the group, or you would introduce those people to the community. Then you have a space for general questions, and then you can create spaces. So I do this quite often with my communities here in Thinkific. You can click on create space, and let's just say that your theme for your community is cars, right? So let's say we're going to talk about European cars. Right, so that's it. And then we're going to say in the description, a space for discussing all things European car. Now we can upload an image here. So let's go ahead and click on that. And let's click on select the file to download. I'm going to go to my downloads because I've got a bunch of images in here I can use. I'm just going to pick one for a course I've loaded before. And so I've loaded this course card, right, which would be my space card here. And I'm just going to save it. So this is just like when you have a course card identifying your courses when you build them in Thinkific. The space, every space can have its own uploaded image as well. So that's pretty cool. Now, you can produce some alternative text, which will describe what image is being displayed. So if anyone has visual impairments, they can observe the alternative texts, and it will describe what that image is, so that people with those visual impairments can be aware of what image you've loaded in the site. And then, of course, down here, we can link a course. So this is pretty cool. You can select a course that students have access to, right? So maybe you have provided all of these students, or you want to provide all these students with access to a specific course on European cars, and this space will be connected with them. You can also link your course here. So it's pretty cool, right? And so this is going to create a bit of like a line of communication between the course and the community, and it just provides an additional linkage. So it's pretty nice. Let's go ahead and create that space. So now you can see that space pops up here, European cars, right? And if I've got this highlighted, you can see the space card. You can, and then if I click on a different space, let's say we go to the general, now that card goes away because I'm not highlighting that space anymore. So every space that you create, you have the opportunity to link a course, upload an image that identifies that particular space, and then it's going to encourage you to create your first post in the feed. So let's go ahead and do that for this space as well. Let's see, the post title is going to be BMW, or let's say VW, right? Which do you prefer? Question mark. And then in the post, we would type our post. We can upload an image to this post. We can upload a video file, or we can just upload a straight file like a document. And you also have the ability to add emojis. So if I click on the add emojis, you get a general emoji. What do you call this? Like a profile? Suite of emojis. And they embed right into the page here. So I'm just going to put that little smiley face there so you can see it in action. And we're going to create this post. So it has a title. It has a post content. And then we use the emojis. We can upload video files, images, whatever we want to do. So let's just go ahead and create that post. So you can see now that post will show up here in the feed for the space I created. And essentially, this is what will happen with, and this is what it would normally look like if I didn't have that prompt in the feed. So this is how they show up in your feed here for this particular space. Now, if I go home, what you're going to find is you've got the latest post popped up at the top. So it's trying to keep people up to date on spaces that they are signed up for. If they like, if they're part of that space, then the latest posts in those spaces will come to the top of their home feed so that they can kind of stay current on what's going on. So when you set up this community, they're going to try and give you a lot of prompts on the right side. They want you to publish a welcome post. They want you to set up your user profile, and they want you to set community access for other people. You also have the ability to customize your community. So these are things that you want to be able to do in order to establish a professional and complete community. And so they're very good about trying to guide you through this process. Now, let's say you want to publish this community, hit publish community, this button right here. It's going to take you back to the community page. This is where you can have all the settings for your community. And here we have the ability to set it on a draft, pre-order, or publish, right? So in order to have a pre-order, you have to have something set up to purchase. So we don't have that yet. So let's just go ahead and set this up to publish. Now, if we want, we can share a link to this community with other people. And then we also have the same kind of, hey, if you think a ton of people are going to show up, let's figure out how to do this together so you don't overwhelm the system ask, right? So let's go ahead and hit save, set to publish. Now this community is published. So I'm going to dismiss this. And I want to take you through these other settings. So let's go to general settings. We have the ability to name it. We already named it, but I didn't upload an image. You've seen that in action, so I'll spare you the drama here, but you can go ahead and upload an image. Again, Thinkific is very good about suggesting the dimensions of that image so that it is displayed properly, just like the course card. This should look very familiar. It's the same exact size, format, and directions that were in your course settings. Okay, now, so for the community description, again, we're going to have a brief description of our community, a place for fans of Thinkific to meet daily, right? We can choose amongst different colors, right? We've got the ability to use hex codes, or we can just go through a standard color bar and figure out what we want. You can change the font. So you've got some options here, your typical Thinkific offers for fonts. And then, of course, we've got this banner across the top of the community, so we can choose a banner file as well. So this is a separate image. This goes across the top of the page. And then you have some access options. Now, the access options, they're always going to default to anyone that's logged into your site. So if you want to change this, you have to select a different option. So if I choose students that are in selected courses or bundles, I can control which course or bundle that applies to. So let's go ahead and say the people that are in the course tutorial have access to this community. When I hit apply, it is going to provide every one of those students that are enrolled in that course or bundle, every one of them that have this course tutorial enrollment are going to now see this community pop up in their student dashboard. Okay. Now, let's say I don't want to use a course or a bundle as the defining criteria for people being in this community. Maybe I just want to do a group of students that I've set aside. Maybe I've got a course and it's got 15 different groups of people that have attended it, and I only want to provide community access to explicit groups. I can come in here, and if I have groups preloaded in the system, I can use this function to select that group of students and load them or load the community into their dashboard. So let's just go back to this group here, which is what we had originally set up. Now, for visibility, I leave this open. The only time I would change this is if I want this not to appear on my website, right? So that people can't see it, and that only people that have a direct link to this community landing page would be able to find it. So that means it's hidden. It's not just private. Private means it's visible to the public, but you can't just access it. You have to request access, and the site admin has to grant access. Hidden means it doesn't even show up in a list of products on my site. It exists, but only people with the link can get to it. Now, SEO is the search engine optimization. You want to go ahead and type in the community title. Right. Let's see, we have the Daily Thinkers, right? And so this way, when people search for it on the internet, this will speak to the search engines, right? And so we want to enter in our community description, right? Also, so this will pop up when people search for it. A community for fans of Thinkific. There you go. And now keywords. I want obviously people searching for Thinkific. I can separate these by comma. So comma, let's say online courses, let's say Thinker. All right, hit save. So this is going to caution you that you've made a change to access types. And so only people that have access to the course or bundle that you selected will be able to access it from now on. And if anyone had access beforehand that isn't in that group, it's now going to be lost to them. It'll pop right out of their feed and they just won't be in their dashboard next time they log in. Also, if there's any expiration dates set for an individual student, you're going to override it when you do this. So you can go back in and you can go to support your students and go to each individual person's profile and change their expiration date. But Boy, if you have a whole lot of people in there, that could be a little problematic for you. So let's go ahead and confirm. All right, so we've got the visibility open. We've got our SEO settings. So these are all the settings for a community. All right, now let's look at pricing. So of course, I don't have my purchases set up in this sandbox course, but you can see that if I did have a purchasing system configured to Thinkific, I have the same options as I have with courses. I'd have the opportunity to go free, one-time payment, subscription, monthly, or additional pricing. So this is going to be the same exact approach that you'll see in the pricing lesson. Okay, so the pricing lesson that we went over in course settings, if you go to price settings, you'll see this exact lesson on this content in relation to courses. It's the same exact function. And this was just released last month. So you can set primary pricing and additional pricing. So pretty cool. All right, so we've got a published community. Let's go to the community. We've gone over, this is the banner up here. Okay, so this top up here is the banner. So if I had replaced the banner image, I would have seen that. Here's my title for my community. I set these up in the settings. Here's a place for fans of Thinkific to meet daily, right? And we set up a space for those Thinkific fans to talk, right? Because we were tired of them talking about European cars in the main general community, giving them their own little space to talk to each other about European cars. Okay. And then, of course, once we have this populated and people are in here, you're going to be able to see people's profile pictures when they're logged in and they're active. If they post, you'll be able to see their picture. You'll be able to preview trending posts, right? So if posts have a lot of engagement, they'll show up in that upper right corner here. And they're trying to give them some visibility and some momentum. So you can see a preview here of a Thinkific pre-generated trending post. Now, I see these things as a site administrator because they're trying to give you prompts as an administrator, but a student wouldn't see this at all. They'd only see it if there was an actual post there. They won't see all these little prompts we keep seeing about standing up upcoming events and trending posts and all that. This is more of the view of what they'll see here. And now you can see that my indicator for the community says live, where previously it did not because it wasn't published. Now that it's a published course, you're going to see this indicating as live, and we're up and running. And if I want to access my student dashboard, I can go here to this button and I can access the student dashboard. And if I need to access anything else with my account, I can do so here. As an admin, you'll have access to the community settings and an admin dashboard, your profile, and your logout. So if you're in the community and you're working and you need to make changes to this, the community settings, whether it be the price, the general settings, or its publication status, you're going to want to come to your profile, click the down arrow, and go to community settings. Okay. And you do still have the notification bell in the upper corner here. And the cool thing is now I'm going to get notifications about the community. So if you're logged into your Thinkific account, attending a course, right? Like say I'm attending a course on this platform, I'll have a notification bell notification telling me that someone commented on my post in the community. So even when they're external to the community, when they're in a course or browsing the site, they're going to have a notification pop up saying, hey, someone in the community commented on your post or whatever the case may be. Someone mentioned you. So that's pretty cool. Okay. All right. So that is the lesson on communities. And I seriously consider communities a value add for Thinkific. They have done a great job investing in it. There are many people out there who say, why would I want a community? Why are you investing in this capability? Well, they polled plenty of people and plenty of people were asking for that functionality, because if you don't have it here, that means you have to set it up and manage it externally. So now your people have to log into 2 different places to do the same thing. Also, as the admin, you have to manage 2 different accounts in 2 different places. So it's nice to have it all bundled right here and to have the option to secure your community, manage your community, and nurture your community here. And if you're interested in learning more about how to nurture communities and what to do with them, reach out to me, because this is something that I help many of my clients with. Okay, that's it for this lesson. We'll see you in the next one.